Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. We're going to give everybody a chance, a couple minutes here to join, but in the meantime, we've got a couple questions for you to start this off. Let me know if you can see if you have any trouble, but the first is around if you've bound Hiscox with Attune before, and the second is more of a fun little springtime question to see what activities you're looking forward to.
I think mine has to be going on vacation for spring break. A
Where are
little
you
bit of
going?
beach
Do you have
time.
anywhere picked out?
I don't have anything planned, but I could use some beach time.
Yeah. I'm going to the Galapagos next month and I'm so excited.
Are you really?
Yeah, first time.
That's wild. That's a really cool, that's a really unique place to be.
The birthday trip for me.
Nice. How
That's
long
all.
is that like flight transfer to actually get to? It's probably pretty
It's
wild, right?
it's a while. I'm coming from Ohio, which isn't very convenient, so it's a couple flights. But it's not that bad. It's like 8 hours.
That's not that bad. No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would have guessed more.
yeah,
You
same.
didn't put like go to the Galapagos on this list though on number two. That
That
wasn't in the-
that felt a little bit like rubbing it in.
yeah, humble bragging.
Yeah. Going on a vacation is currently winning by a significant amount, though.
I could imagine. Apparently not Miami. Did you see that they took Miami? They said like, please stay away, spring breakers. We have no interest for you anymore.
I saw that. Very interesting.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
We're looking at about 55% have not written GL or PL with Attune before, and 45% have. Give them another 30 seconds or so to get some last answers.
That's a good split. We love having both returning and new folks on the webinar.
All right, that's not bad. I'm gonna wrap it up, but vacation wins, shockingly. All right, thanks everyone for participating. We have got Sean with Hiscox and Shane with Attune, and we're gonna toss it over to Sean to start us off and get into it. This will be recorded and shared out afterwards. We'll have some time for Q&A afterwards as well, but feel free to drop questions into the chat as we go, and we'll answer some of those live. And stay tuned at the end to see if you are a lucky attendee that walks away with a $100 gift card. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Sean.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Everybody good? Okay, wonderful. Thanks everybody for joining. My name is Sean Ireland. As Maggie said, I'm with Hiscox now. I am the partnership manager that represents the Hiscox relationship with Attune. And we love to have these webinars a couple times per year just to update everybody on the state of Hiscox products. And so how this is going to work is I'm going to do my piece of the puzzle where I'm going to introduce the products that we offer through the Attune relationship, talk a little bit about the coverages, what kind of businesses may need those coverages, and then talk a little bit about our service features. And then we'll stop for questions. And then I'm going to hand it over to Shane so he can walk you all through the Attune experience and how you can quote the Hiscox product on the Attune website. So if you have any questions, please place them in the Q&A in the chat up there. You'll see we have a Q&A section in the chat. Put that up there. And then, like I said, we will stop at the end of the Hiscox piece and run through those questions. And we'll have plenty of time to answer questions. We'll have plenty of opportunities to get your questions answered. So let's start about why use Hiscox now. So we have a nice bullet pointed list. Oh, I'm sorry, I was remiss. Let me also add that with me today is Kasheri Smith from Hiscox, who's one of our underwriting team members. So she's along for the ride. So any questions you have detailed about classes of business, lines of business, certain coverages, she's there to help me. Not help me. She is there to answer the questions because she knows a lot more than I do about these products and services. So let's get into why use Hiscox now. We have a very broad appetite. We have admitted liability insurance for over 480 professions. We use a rules-based or portfolio underwriting system, which means it's a very streamlined quoting process. Shane will go through that later on. It also means that we don't need anything like loss runs. So if you get through the product, you get through the system, and there's a quote there, it's bindable, and you can bind right there. New ventures are welcome. We insure brand new businesses. So anything that started today, we would take it today. We have competitive premiums. Tailored policies start from $22.50 per month. The process is fast and simple. So it's an online application from start to finish. No Hiscox appointment needed. As long as you're appointed with Attune, you are good to go. Instant binding. So again, same day effective date, policy docs emailed immediately, and it immediately really relates to like 5 to 10 minutes max, but you'll get them usually within the first 5 minutes. All of our policies are direct bill, so we handle all the servicing and billing. We have a service support team available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Shane will go over some of the Attune relationship when it comes to the service portal as well. We have it later in the presentation. You'll see what you need to go to Attune for, or should go to Attune for, and then what you should come directly to Hiscox for. All of these policies are automatic renewal, so they do automatically renew, and the commission is paid for the lifetime of the coverage. And Hiscox is A-rated by AM Best, so very financially stable. All right, so let's get into our product lines. So the first one we're going to cover is the monoline professional liability, otherwise known as errors and omissions. All of our products are monoline, so our GL product as well. So professional liability is coverage for errors and omissions that occur or have alleged to occurred in the course of providing professional services. So claims of negligence, even if your client hasn't made a mistake. Covers claim for libel and slander arising from your client's services. The retroactive date of the policy would be the existing policy's retroactive date if they are switching from a different carrier. It covers awarded damages and legal defense costs. Punitive damages are covered up to $250,000 where allowable by law. It covers services done by your client's employees, temporary staff, and independent contractors. There's $200,000 of copyright infringement coverage for most of our marketing and graphic and web design classes. We can bind up to $2 million of aggregate limit online, and there is $5 million available upon request. We have various deductibles ranging from $0 to $10,000, and coverage starts at $270 per year. A couple coverage details on the right-hand side there. These do automatically renew. They're written on admitted paper. This is a monoline product like we talked about. And automatic blanket additional insured coverage is included at no cost. All right, and you can see down there the small caveat. Blanket additional insured coverage ends once an operation is completed or a lease agreement ends. And here's our state availability map. So you can see our professional liability through Attune is available in 49 states. The only state there is no coverage is Alaska. All right, jumping over to our monoline general liability policy. So this covers claims for bodily injury, associated medical costs, and damage to property on or off premises. It covers liability for property damage or bodily injury to third parties. It covers both employees and temporary staff. We cover up to $2 million of occurrence limit online and up to $5 million upon referral. It does cover defense costs outside of limit. There is no deductible for most industries. There is a work from home discount available on these policies, which is subject to the minimum premium. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple slides. Coverage does start at $350 per year, except for those next classes. You can see that we have a $500 minimum premium for, which are retail, landscape, janitorial, and artisan contractors. We've highlighted one of our largest, our most popular add-ons there, business personal property and equipment, so BPP. This also would be known as like GL Plus in a lot of ways. And this is an add-on that would allow you to cover loss or damage to computer equipment or contents. It'll cover up to $25,000 of limit, which is offered in $5,000 increments. This is an important piece, though. The off-premises sublimit is $2,500 for all professions, except for mobile food classes where you can choose between $5,000 and $25,000 for that off-premises sublimit. So again, if you have something like contractors or taking tools to and from the job site, the $2,500 is the max that we can cover those off-premises items. And then coverage starts at $135 per year for $5,000 in coverage with a $500 deductible. And you can see on the right, again, same things apply to the GL that we had on the PL. It automatically renews. This one is an ISO-based form. So this one is a standardized ISO form. It's a monoline product. It's very startup friendly. And again, the same automatic blanket additional insured coverage is on this as well. Some more optional add-ons we have for general liability. So this says after a GL quote is produced, you can do it after, or you can do it as a part of the journey itself. And Shane will show you that once we go along here. The first we have is primary non-contributory, and that refers to coverage extended to an additional insured so long as you have a contract or agreement in writing prior. It makes the insured's policy primary and does not seek contribution from other available insurance. It's offered on a blanket basis, and it's available in all states except Alaska. Hired and non-owned auto endorsement, HNOA. This covers claims against your business if an employee has an accident while using their own or rented vehicle for business purposes. It's available for all of our GL classes except artisan contractors, landscape, janitorial, retail, and mobile food services. $300,000 to $2 million of coverage limit are available, but that limit cannot exceed our GL occurrence limit. Claim payments are a part of the GL aggregate, not in addition to, and it's available in all states except Alaska, Illinois, Louisiana, Vermont, and Washington. And then finally on our list is waiver of subrogation, which is an agreement between two parties in which one party agrees to waive subrogation rights against another in the event of a loss, so long as this is agreed to in writing prior. And this is available in all states except Alaska. So we have a couple selling points here for the GL product. We like to kind of highlight why our product is unique in certain ways and maybe advantageous compared to others in the market. So one of our biggest selling points is the 14-day cancellation for a full refund is available for most industries. Generally, policies are either prorated or penalized for an early cancel. And in this case, we have that 14-day kind of free look period. So 14 days is kind of unique in this scenario for the Hiscox general liability policy. That work from home discount up to 10%. This is eligible with certain factors, so it's not a blanket 10%. It's eligible based on the information that's entered and how the system calculates that. But I want to make it very clear that that's still subject to the minimum premium. You'll never drop below our minimum premium, but the 10% will apply if you do have a policy premium above that minimum. Similar to this, we do have the multi-line discount if bundled with another product. So in this scenario, if you bundled a GL with a PL, the 10% discount would apply. But that again will not apply to minimum premiums. So if it's a GL minimum premium and you put it on the PL, there would be, assuming that PL is not a minimum premium, it would take 10%, up to 10% off that PL premium. The automatic additional insured endorsement at no extra cost. So there's no limit to any covered entities under the blanket. So it can be a blanket with any entities under that name. If you need a scheduled additional insured form, we can do that for free for one, but then it's $50 after the first scheduled entity. Some people ask for specific entity scheduled on that additional insured form. The first one we have is free. Any others would be a $50 charge. Again, the automatic zero deductible for most industries is really nice because if you have a claim, there is no deductible attached to that. The first party personal property floater is available, which we talked about during the presentation. So it's not just a GL product. We do have a GL Plus option with the BPP available. We have the waiver of subrogation and the primary non-contributory endorsements available. And we always ask the question, kind of like, when do these apply? When could these apply in the course of buying insurance or when you need it? So a lot of times when you're working at a client location, the primary non-contributory can often be required by the contract. So in that scenario, you'd want to make sure you would have that on the policy. And we like to say the primary non-contributory acts at the start of a claim. So it's something agreed to before a claim even comes up. We know it's only going to be on the policyholder policy. And the waiver of subrogation would apply at the end of a claim. If another company came in looking for subrogation, that waiver of subrogation would cover that. We have the hired and non-owned auto coverage endorsement available for most industries. So again, just to review, it's when an employee or rental vehicle used by employees to do business tasks, and the vehicle must be hired, not owned by the business entity or owners of business entity. And then again, just our location, we have all 49 states and District of Columbia. The only outlier there is Alaska. And here is our GL distribution map. Again, you can see all 48 continental states and Hawaii. So a little bit more about the classes that we have. So we do same-day coverage for 480 plus professions. The entire list can be found on the Attune website. Our appetite guide can be found on the Attune website. This is just a small subset of the things we do. So some of these industries include architects and engineers, artisan contractors, consulting, creative design, financial services, health, beauty, wellness, janitorial, landscaping, legal, marketing and public relations, miscellaneous business services, real estate, retail, and technology. And on this next slide, I will show you, this is a larger look at some of these subsets of these industries and where we've really been seeing, we've always been very strong with things like your small contractors, especially for GL. We've been very strong with landscape and janitorial with the Attune relationship. But some of the classes that have become very popular toward the end of 2023 and into 2024 are the marketing and creative classes. So advertising, photography, graphic design, those classes, and a lot of the technology classes. So we're talking IT consulting, data processing, computer programming, anything under that technology category has become more and more popular toward the end of 2023 into 24. Again, for the full workup and the full appetite guide, you're going to want to reference the Hiscox appetite guide on the Attune website. And one little thing I want to make certain we're all clear of here, down here at the bottom, it has revenues up to $5 million. So almost all of our industries, $5 million is our upper revenue limit for qualification, with the exception of $1 million for architects and engineers and $500,000 for small contractors, which brings me directly to our next little section, which is a little carve out for small contractors, for artisan contractor GL, because it is unique and they're unique in a lot of scenarios. So you can see here our GL artisan contractor state availability is almost exactly the same as the normal state availability without the state of New York. So New York is one of those states where it's very challenging to offer GL and get those state approvals. So we don't have GL for small contractors in the state of New York. And here's the list of eligible professions for our artisan contractor, small contractor classes. So for interior contractors, we have carpenters, carpet, rug, furniture, or upholstery cleaning, clock making and repair, electrical work, handy person with no roof work, interior finishing work, painting, plumbing, both commercial and residential, sign painting and lettering, tile, stone, marble, mosaic, or terrazzo work, and upholstery work. For our installation and repair classes, we have air conditioning systems, appliance and accessories, door or window, drywall or wallboard, floor covering, glass with no auto work, heating and air conditioning with no LPG, and locksmiths. And then for our exterior contractors, we have driveway or sidewalk paving, fence installation and repair, masonry work, plastering or stucco work, and window cleaning with nothing above 15 feet. And here are some excluded classes and ineligible services and materials. A lot of these probably will not be a surprise to anybody just based on how risky a lot of these industries are. So we're talking asbestos, lead, or mold evaluation or abatement, blasting or demolition, crane operation, foundation, sheeting, or retaining wall design, fracking, process piping, scaffolding operation, and waste removal. And then infrastructures or materials that we don't insure or have an appetite for are airports, amusement rides, pools, or playgrounds, bridges, dams, harbors, mines, piers, or tunnels, hazardous materials, landfills, oil, gas, or well work, or underground storage tanks or utilities. And let's go into some operational basics. Here's where we're going to really talk about how the Hiscox system works and how you can make the most of it. So again, we have a dedicated service center that provides the following services. We have 2 call centers located, one in Chesapeake, Virginia, and one in Las Vegas. And that's how we get you that 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time window for service. There's a toll-free number anybody can call at 866-739-0727. We do have Spanish-speaking advisors available. All policy servicing requests can be handled through our dedicated service centers. So this is things like policy changes, endorsements, certificates of insurance, adding additional insureds, request to change payment method. Everything under the sun can be done. And then there's also a live chat window. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't really want to be on the phone or wait on hold potentially, we do have a chat window on the homepage that is manned by a live person. So it's not necessarily an AI system that routes you to someone after you tell it the right thing or the wrong thing, depending on what you put on there. Those are manned by live representatives, that the same representatives you would talk to if you called in. So it's not like a separate team. It's the same team that mans that chat feature. And here's that delineation we talked about earlier about what can be requested and should be requested through Attune, and then what you can request and should request through the Hiscox Service Center. So on the left-hand side, you can see choice of class code, policy docs, adding an authorized person, change business address, loss runs, waiver of subrogation, certificate holder updates, submitting documents, and requesting a BOR or an AOR. That can all be done through Attune and should be done through Attune. And everything else on the right-hand side would make the most sense to call and do it through Hiscox, because it would be a pass-through Attune anyway. We'd have to do it in our service center. So just cut the middleman out, so to speak, and go right to our team to save yourself some time. And then we can perform all those tasks for you. For those of you saying, man, I really love this list, I wish I could have it, are you going to be sending this after the fact? The answer is yes, we'll have it available after the webinar is over. If you need to submit a claim, we have a couple ways to do that. You can email to report a claim at hiscox.com. You can speak to a Hiscox rep at 1-866-424-8508 and start the claim that way. Or you can actually mail the supporting documents to 5 Concourse Parkway in Atlanta, and our claims team will intake that and start the process for you. So we have 3 really easy ways to start a claim if you need to start a claim for one of your clients. And then just a little more clarification on email communication. So our policies obviously are emailed to the policyholder and the agent after the bind order or the bind has been done. And we have a couple situations there where we want to say events when a customer, agent, and partner may receive an email from Hiscox. These all should not be surprises. So when a product is removed or added, you'll get a confirmation of that. When a policy is canceled, you'll get a notification of that. When a payment is confirmed, when a quote is provided, when a renewal is issued, and then we have our welcome email series as well. So when a policy is bound, you'll get the documents, the payment schedule, the accord forms. They're all sent directly to the insured and also to the agent. The payment schedule is important because we do have 4 payment options. We have monthly, we have quarterly, we have twice a year, and then we also have annually. So once you decide at the checkout screen how to do that, those payment options will come up. All right, I will stop for a second here and let's check out the questions. Okay, it looks like Gina Cardenas has said mobile notary 95% is real estate transactions. Because Sherry, do we do mobile notaries if 95% of their transactions are real estate?
Yes, we're okay with that.
Okay. All right, flat work only for concrete. I think that means like maybe, Ann, this is Ann Miller. Could you maybe clarify when you say flat work only, does that mean just like laying concrete sheets on the ground, not necessarily doing any sort of vertical work? I'll assume that's the case. And if that's the case, Kasheri, do we do concrete in that scenario?
It really all depends on what the concrete is for. If it's for foundations, then no. If we're laying concrete for driveway, sidewalk, paving and repaving, then that's fine.
Okay. And it also says for exterior, that includes concrete work. I think we just covered that. That's a yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, Gina was asking for professional liability, just to be clear, for the notary, Kasheri, for
Yes.
that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wonderful. Do we insure the warehouse and sales? I'm assuring that means. Shane, maybe help me out here. Do you insure the warehouse and sales? We don't do property location. We don't have any property coverage for the GL.
Yeah, for the warehouse, that would have to probably fit under our BOP program, but I don't believe we do warehouses for our BOP either.
Sherry, can we do LROs?
LROs, what exactly is the acronym for?
That's a lesser's risk only.
No.
That again, Chrissy, it's a great question. That would be a better fit under our BOP program.
Will you be able to send the appetite list for the E&O coverages? Shane, I think you can cover that, right, when you go over your piece?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually I'll be able to show everyone how they can get to the guidelines and download those.
Okay, great. Do you handle handyman services? Actually, we do. Yep, handy person, handyman is one of our more popular classes. We do a metric ton of handyman coverage. Wood framing for driveway. So, Kasheri, would we cover I'm assuming that would still be part of the concrete construction, because in my experience, when someone does wood framing for a driveway, I'm assuming you're meaning to lay the wood frames to pour the concrete, or is it something different? And maybe you could clarify that if you don't mind.
If they're doing it for the driveway, I would assume it's inherited with that risk.
Okay, so we should be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Flat work is driveways and sidewalks. So yep, we are okay with that. Yes. Thank you. Will we cover a real estate investor who flips houses?
It
No,
looks like
not at this time.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Kashiri.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we don't cover real estate investing.
All right. So Emily said for GL and PL. And now I forget what Emily's original question was. Maggie, do you have access to that? I think it was the warehouse and sales question, potentially.
Yes, yeah. Do you insure the warehouse and sales?
So I think that's a no across the board for GL and personal property. All right. What methods of payment are accepted? So we accept credit card payments. Off the top of my head, I believe it's MasterCard, Visa,
And American Express.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
American
I don't
Express.
think we do Discover yet.
We don't. That's right. Or Diners Club. It's a bad joke. Excavation and heavy equipment that the insured rents for his job. Will we cover that?
No, we don't have an appetite for excavation services
Okay.
in general. Mm-hmm.
Shane, I'm going to give you the anonymous attendee. We have some policies written with Attune. We had trouble downloading them from the website. Is that the best way to download them, or is calling necessary?
I would recommend downloading them if you can. If you do have any trouble, I'll cover it in my demo as well. In the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there's a little red support option. If you chat into our team, they'll be able to give you any of the policies that you would need as well.
Okay. Aaron asks, I've seen there is no property coverage available in California, correct? Maybe that's a question for you, Shane, because we don't have property coverage on GL or PL.
Yes, so Aaron, I think you're referring to some of our BOP underwriting changes that have gone into effect, and that is correct. At the moment, we are not doing property in California on the Attune BOP.
Kasheri, will we cover alarm monitoring companies?
No, we don't have an appetite for alarm monitoring. We're okay with the installation of the alarm system.
Okay, got it. Are barbershops and salons covered under E&O for the business or for the individual barbers?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Who's BOP? Hiscox. No, that's your BOP, right, Shane?
It would be the Attune BOP. That's
Yeah.
You can locate in the Attune portal.
Shane, do you guys have owner landlord rental building under your BOP program?
Correct.
You do?
But we do not do, sorry, I think I spoke too quickly. We don't do any habitational. So if it's only commercial, like mom and pop street shops, then yes. But if there's any habitational, it's a knockout.
Okay. Sherry, this is an interesting one we had this morning somewhere else. Do we cover incidental snow plowing, and what % of plowing is allowed?
So with the snow blowing and removal class of business, there's a couple of moving parts with that one. We cover snow blowing and removal. If they are doing snow plowing where the plow is connected to an automobile, then they would need commercial auto for that. But we will cover the ongoing operations for that, I believe.
Do we have any sort of percentage of plowing that is allowed for someone who does maybe like landscaping and just does this kind of on the side in the winter? Or do they have to specifically tag themselves as snow plowing, and then we consider landscape like as an incidental?
So if they're doing both snow plowing and landscaping, we want to rate it for the snow removal class of
Okay.
business.
Gotcha. So is GL for solo marine mechanics and solo bow towing operators with own truck available?
That would be a no.
No. Okay. I think I know the answer to this one. What about general contractors who are high-end custom home builders? We don't do general contractors, right, on our GL,
Correct.
right? Sure. Do we have professional liability available for caregivers?
At one point in time, we did have home health and personal care aides. But after COVID, we shut that class of business off. I have to double check to see if it's back live again. I believe it is, but I have to double check that.
Yeah, I think if it's not, it's going to be coming here in the next month or so. So
Yeah, so I know it's coming soon
Yep.
if it's not already available.
So Arlene, coming soon. We're bringing it back. Do you cover events, pageants, or churches?
So we have coverage for event planning. We don't have coverage for churches or faith-based institutions. Are they referring to planning events or actually hosting the pageants? If they're hosting the pageants, then no.
Yeah, I think the question is around the hosting or the activity of having the pageant.
Okay, then no.
Scott asks, I've had 2 policies both denied as they don't cover sports rentals and also another for event planning. Will those ever be added? I could probably say, well, we have event planning, right?
Yes, we have event planning.
Okay, so Scott, we do have event planning. I don't think we do sports rentals, do we, Kasheri?
No, not the rental stores. Mm-mm.
Okay. And do we have event planning for both GL and PL?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Can
can
we-
take this
Oh, go ahead.
next
Yeah, got
one.
it.
Carmine, great question. We can do BOP in New York, but as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there are a multitude of underwriting changes that are going into effect that do impact New York to some degree. I would recommend just going into our portal and trying whatever you have on your desk to go through the BOP program. But we do still write BOP in New York.
Shane, we'll take the next 2 just in case they apply under the Attune appetite as well. Do you write builder's risk for new homes in Florida? Sherry, we don't do builder's risk, correct?
No, correct.
Shane, do you guys have that available?
No.
And we do not do tire stores, I do not believe. Do we do tire stores, Kasheri?
No.
No. Shane, tire stores?
I would have to double check the BOP guidelines. I don't know off the top of my head, unfortunately.
Okay. Does the app cover a utility trailer rental small business? Kasheri, could we do that?
No.
No. Okay. What is the artisan contractor's work on track homes?
I don't think I know what a track home is.
Priscilla, if you wouldn't mind, could you put that maybe a little more specific question so we can answer it correctly? Or make sure we understand it. Do we offer GL for semi-truck haulers? I do not believe we do.
No, we don't.
Can we write GL for not-for-profits or for a scholars program?
Depending on what the scholar program does, we're okay with that. We're okay with nonprofits.
Okay. Can you send an email out to everyone when the home health is available? Yeah, Shane, once we finalize that appetite, guide and get it uploaded to the system, we'll get together on an announcement on that.
Absolutely.
Can we insure party halls? I do not believe we can at Hiscox for GL.
Correct. No.
Shane, do you guys have that for BOP or anything?
I don't believe we do.
What about GL for groups that hold meetings in churches? It's a good
That's
question.
fine.
That's fine. Okay.
Mhm.
Aaron, that's good. How about event hosting for GL with overnight sleeping at the event, like a weekend car show?
Hold on, I'm rereading that question.
Yeah.
So no, we don't like that particular type of event planning.
With like an overnight event exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And then Priscilla asked for the event planning. Would that include if they have a liquor license?
So our policies have a liquor liability exclusion. So we try to steer away from the insured holding their own liquor license. If they're planning an event and their client purchases a liquor license, then that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Do we do emergency road service? Not towing, just the emergency road service piece of it. Will we cover that?
No, the only service that remotely would be considered emergency road service would be our locksmith. Anything outside of that would be a no.
Okay, that makes sense. Do we have GL for solar electrical installer of net meters? It's a requirement for like, it must be like a Duke Energy requirement. Do we do anything like that?
No, we don't have an appetite for anything solar related, installation, repairs
Okay.
of the panels, nothing like that.
Anna just asked the question we got an answer to. Do you have an appetite for locksmiths? Yes, we do. Scott says he just tried again for event and meeting planning services, all say ineligible. Is that maybe for the state of Connecticut? That shouldn't be an exclusion by state. Maybe, Scott, maybe we can connect with Shane offline and see if what we can figure out there, because I know that is part of our appetite.
Yeah, we can look into that afterwards, Scott. Thank you for the call out. There might just be a little tweak in the back end we need to handle.
Will we cover track? Track is when the builders build a whole subdivision. Oh, so anything building of houses we don't have an appetite for, right, Kasheri?
Correct.
Yeah. Track homes, a new development with several homes being built as a series, usually 25 plus homes. Yeah, that is out of our appetite. Can we get a Hiscox button on our website? I think that's a Shane question. The answer for me is no. We have to work directly through our wholesale partners, and then
That's the same answer for us. We prefer you go to the Attune portal.
can we insure a food market restaurant BOP?
I believe so. That should be an app. Assuming it passes all other underwriting requirements, but I do believe we have that class code.
All right. Just the increased GL for the individual homeowner, not the install. Oh, okay. So Charles, about the solar install, just the increased GL for the individual homeowner. So that would be like a homeowner's policy though, wouldn't it, at some level?
Yeah, that wouldn't be considered general liability
Okay. Okay.
for a business.
We don't have any appetite for pipe welding and fabrication, do we, Kasheri?
No.
No. Okay. Do we have any appetite for a security company that is a new venture? So a GL or PL for security company?
No, not at this time.
Not this time. Okay. Do we do mobile window tinting businesses?
For automobiles, no. For homes and commercial buildings, we're okay with window tinting under the door and window installation class of business.
Okay, so no auto, but but for buildings under the what class did you say that was?
Door and window installation.
Door and window installation. Okay. Mobile food trucks are insurable. We do have that under our GL, and we do have that specific off-premises limit of between $5,000 and $25,000. It's the only class where we can give you a higher off-premises limit. So yes, Alan, we do have that available. How about mobile bars? I do not believe anything liquor related, right?
Correct.
And I'm assuming when you say bar, you're saying you're including liquor in that conversation. Do we cover safe installers and sales?
I know for the sales aspect, we don't have a retail class of business for that. For the installation, I can double check to see if we cover safe installation. I don't think we've ever come across that in the past.
Okay. How about private security guards?
No,
All right. I have an event coming up at a clubhouse in a residential neighborhood in Florida. Is there an appetite? So no events, right?
no events.
Yeah, just the event planning. We're going to look more into that for the one question. And then, do we have coverage for mobile auto detailer, one person LLC? I think you said we don't do mobile auto detail. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Man, you guys came with the questions today. We really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sean, we have one raised hand from John Cordova.
We got some more. Okay, go ahead.
John, if you can unmute yourself and ask that, go ahead. Hmm.
John has me in suspense.
I guess he's gotten shy. All right, John, feel free to drop something in the chat if you do want to ask that question later on.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, Shane, I'll turn it over to you so you can do your piece of it, and then we'll come back to these questions. That sound good?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
All right.
And Scott, I will include my email in the demo. And yes, feel free to email me, and Sean and I can link offline to see what we can get set up for you. But with that, let me start to share my screen here. Awesome. Did it come through okay?
You're good.
Awesome. And thank you again for all the engagement, folks. I'm Shane Corcoran from the Attune side. I'm the carrier partnership lead. So I oversee the Hiscox relationship with Sean. And if there are any questions afterwards, like I mentioned, feel free to reach out to myself. We hopefully get those handled, or to our support team. But with this, I want to show you all basically how easy it is to get a Hiscox GL or PL quote in the Attune portal. I like to say it can take maybe 5 minutes tops to get a quote. But before that, I'd like to go into where can we find the guidelines and the appetite list that we've been mentioning. When you log into the Attune portal, it'll bring you to this page here. And then it's as simple as going down to the support tab on the left-hand side. And then this will have all of the guidelines that you can download for reference. And so, for example, the Hiscox GL and PL one I have open here. This will have the full list of class codes that are eligible, and if they're eligible for both GL and PL, or specifically just GL in certain cases. Perfect. This is actually one of my favorite tabs, so I always like to call it out to the team. And this is also the support chat function I was mentioning. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to go down here, and you can chat with a live member of our service team who'll be able to help you. So let's go into a quote, and let me show you how easy it is to get one. I'll say Shane Insurance Agency. 60. Can't type at the moment. 60 Broad Street here. Insurance. And as you can see from the portal, for folks who may be not as familiar, as you start typing in, our portal will try to assist you in the class code that you'd like to pick to make it easier and a little bit more efficient for you. So insurance agencies, if you continue to scroll down, you'll see for insurance agency, every product that's eligible for. As we can see, it's eligible for both the GL and the PL. If you'd like to start with the GL quote, don't worry, you'll be able to go to the PL right afterwards. You won't have to go all the way back to this. I'll click Get Quote. We'll say policy effective date today. Scroll down to insurance agent. Business structure. Oh, see. First. I'll provide my email here. Right. So this is all just the basic information. I'll say there's no DBA for sake of time. next. When did the business begin? I'll say it started New Year's Day. I'll say I do not currently have coverage to show that this is still would be eligible. Design, construction, or installation, no. Over the next 12 months, let's say I'll have a rock star starting year. I'll have $1 million in revenue. Let's say I have 5,000 square footage. This is where, as Sean mentioned, if I was working out of my home, I could select yes here, and that would apply that discount. For this, it's an office in the city, so I will say no. Does the owner of the business supply, manufacture, distribute tangible goods or products? No. Select my limits. All very basic and very straightforward to get through. Select that $0 deductible that we mentioned. And then in our portal, we actually made it very simple because as you're scrolling down, you'll get your option to choose these additional coverages that Sean went through. So here would be your higher non-owned auto, and you can select a limit if you'd like. I'll say I'm not going to include it this time. Terrorism, yes, no. Primary non-contributory, waiver of subrogation. The one I like to call out is the business, personal property, and equipment coverage. This would be, say I'm just getting started, I have a few desks. I can schedule this onto the GL, as we mentioned, up to 25,000, $500 deductible for that. And then this is where we would agree to receiving the policy documents via email and other notices via email. One thing I'd like to call out to folks, especially who are newer that are quoting, is to make sure that you click on the important legal information. We do ask that you agree to it, but in order to access it, you actually have to just click on this link right here. And this will let you understand and fully acknowledge what you're agreeing to. For example, claims history, things like that. And then once you finish reading, you can click close and then submit. So it's really that easy. If I wasn't talking, it probably would have been less than 5 minutes. As long as it might take my computer longer than the actual quote itself to load. You gotta love the internet. But from there, the quote instantly generates. You're able to download the quote letter and say the client is at your desk right there. You go across, you make the deal as you quote. You're able to click bind at the same time. This will give you some tips and tricks with working with Hiscox. Again, similar to what we covered before. Select next. Be able to select your payment options, one time, monthly. There are other options, I think, depending on premium, if I remember correctly. And then you have to agree to some more legal terms. And then the next page is just where you enter the credit card information. So hopefully this doesn't take too long. I just like to show that screen for folks. And here we are. We can enter the credit card information. One thing I'd like to call out, and kind of hinted at it in the beginning of the demo, is that since I started with the GL, if I wanted to do a PL as well, it's as simple as going back to, so when you finish the quote, it'll bring you to this page. If you select back right here, what we've done is we've included a cross-sell opportunities box as well. So you can have your GL quote, and then you can scroll down and select a PL quote as well, and it can lead you right into the PL quote flow. I won't do that for the sake of time. I know we only have 10 minutes left. I do want to leave some time for Q&A. But I know that was a little bit quick. If there's anything you'd like to see again before we run out of time, I'm happy to show it. But we've really tried our best to make this as smooth and as easy as possible. So I encourage everyone to kind of get into the portal, get familiar, and it really is only like, it'll take 5 minutes to be able to quote something that's on your desk. I think I see a few questions that have come through.
I'll jump into here, Shane, as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the first one. I think I might need your help, Sean. Or
GL for security traffic control specialist. Is that the one you see?
Yes.
Yeah, I do not believe, Kasheri, we don't have a GL for security or traffic control specialists or like highway shutdowns. Do we have anything like that?
No, we don't.
Okay. April says she keeps running into an issue with an ineligibility for a home theater company that also installs security cameras. Submitting this as surveillance install and it comes back as ineligible. Sure, how do we classify those?
So she should quote it under home theater installation, and in the application, she can select additional services. So she will also need to select security system installation.
Okay, so home theater class with security system installation as to the other operations.
Yes.
Okay, can we cover construction, heavy equipment, operator, training, GL? So not the operation, but the training? We don't do that, do we?
Training, yes.
Oh,
We're
training.
okay with like training forklift operators as long as
Okay.
it's not behind the wheel type training.
Gotcha, gotcha. Is there a market for men's clothing wholesalers? Do we have a market for that?
This
The
would fit,
wholesalers.
ooh, sorry. I was say this would fit under the Attune BOP
Okay.
as well.
Any coverage for homeowners associations? I know we don't have directors and officers, but do we have homeowners associations available, Kasheri?
No, we don't cover HOAs.
Okay. Aaron, can we have Sean's email again? Man. You can. I'll put that in the Maggie, when you guys send out the final
have-
deck to everybody, you can include my email in that.
I have bad news, Shane.
Oh,
Aaron-
Shane's email.
Yeah, she
Uh,
wants
Yeah.
Shane.
Yes, I can drop it into chat. But one thing I would recommend is using our the service center. We have a fully staffed team who give white glove service. But I can drop my email into chat.
All right. What if they have multiple locations? I'm not sure, Michael, if that's reference to a question you had previously. I don't have the list here. Kasheri, will our GL and PL cover multiple locations in certain classes?
Yeah, we have
Sean, it
coverage
looks like
for multiple locations.
it looks like it was coverage for multiple work from home employees.
Oh, coverage for multiple work from home employees. Okay.
So when it comes to that particular question, the only location that we would be insuring would be the business location. Now, if they have employees that work from home, that's perfectly fine, but we wouldn't list those locations on the policy.
Gotcha. I think this might be one of yours, Shane. Commercial property policy in California, are they going to renew it, or are they just not writing new business for a property?
I believe I'd have to go back to the underwriting changes. I know right now it is no new business for property. There are some non-renewals that are coming. And I believe a marketing email has gone out. And we'll let you know as those are released. One thing that is actually a great segue with those underwriting changes that are happening, one of the places we're making cuts is in some of our contractors class codes, specifically plumbers and landscapers. And if you do receive a non-renewal for any of those class codes, I really recommend using Hiscox. It's a very viable option as we've kind of gone through now. And that way you can keep the business and still have the Attune experience.
Do we cover the mixed use of properties, for example, ground level restaurant, upper level residential condo units? I do not believe we have an appetite for that, do we, Kasheri?
I'm sorry, I was muted. No, we don't have coverage for condo units.
Okay. So is Hiscox just quoted through the Attune site? That is correct. Yep. I can't find the classification for heavy equipment operator training. Would that be, so how would you do the GL, the training? What would that class be specifically, Kasheri, for training?
It would be training.
Oh, training.
Mm-hmm.
Tina, it would be under training. The appetite guides are updated regularly, correct? Yes, Chrissy, they are. We tie to a separate entity that electronically maintains our appetite, which connects directly with the Attune site. So as soon as we update the appetite on the Hiscox side, it directly feeds, probably with like a one night, update refresh over to Attune.
We also keep the PDF so you can download in the Attune portal up to date.
For the sample Shane used, how do you add multiple locations?
Let me go back to that 1 second here.
And I'll jump into, so does Hiscox offer GL and PL for TV podcast production companies? That's a good question.
Yeah, we don't have coverage for podcasts yet. It may be something that we might look into in the future, just depending on how that business grows.
And TV, same thing?
Same thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And to go back to the multiple locations, we don't have that capability in the Attune portal and the Hiscox flow. But what I would recommend is that you start the quote on the Attune side, and then you call the Hiscox folks, and they'll be able to add the second or third location for you.
And Tanya, I know you have your hand up. Go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
I do. Thank you for unmuting me. I have a question, and I guess it was just a little bit too long to type. So I'm the one that asked about just having that widget or that button on your website in order to quote. So my question is, because first of all, I love quoting through Attune and getting to Hiscox. It is so easy. Like, you are right. It's under 90 seconds if you have all the information. But because it is so easy, I have often wanted to, to guide my client to my website and say, hey, click here, throw in this information, like I'll see you on the phone with you. That way we can get it done. And then the information is that something that could possibly in the works where it goes under Attune? You know what I mean? Like, it goes under Attune, but to Hiscox, or none of that conversation is in the work.
Yeah, we haven't quite started that conversation yet. It's definitely something that we can gauge overall interest with obviously the broker base and see if that's something we'd like to build. But I don't believe it's on the tech roadmap as of right now, so I don't want to make any promises I can't keep.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Tanya, just to give you a little more update on that too, because Attune has their own site and everything runs through there. It would be really hard to marry the tracking piece on our side to give them credit for all the things that they do on that side. So that not say it's never going to happen in the future, but right now, probably not an option in the very near future.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yep. All right, a couple minutes left here. What about a spa that does colon therapy and massages? Kasheri, what say you?
Massages, yes. Colon therapy, no.
Okay. Jimmy wants to know, do we cover these risks? Eyelash extensions. So Kashir, you can see that list there.
Yes.
It looks like a med spa or day spa kind of deal.
So eyelash extensions, lift and tint, removal, facials, yes. Chemical peels, so long as the solution isn't more than 30%, I believe, the application will verify that for you. IPL laser, no. Carbon laser, no. Laser hair removal, microblading, no. Lip blushing, as long as it's not microblading related, then we're okay with that.
May I, now I'm assuming Ann actually wants my email. Ann, let me know if you really want Shane's email or my email, because there was some confusion before, but you can have my email.
I've given it out twice now. That's my limit.
Yeah. So Maggie, if you want to include my email in that send, you can please do that. Broker of letter transfer from Hiscox direct to me as the broker of record. So if you're working with the client who's direct with Hiscox and you want to BOR that over to yourself through the Attune relationship, I don't see any problem with that. Just submit a BOR and AOR on our portal, or actually you could do it through the Attune site there as well. We do not have apartment coverage, I believe, right, Kasheri? No building and GL coverage.
Correct.
Shane, do you guys have any of that on your side?
No habitational at the moment.
And Susie, we are not a market for house flippers, correct? Kasheri, do we do e-businesses like Amazon sellers? I think we do.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We opened the e-commerce line during COVID.
And household small appliances should not be an issue?
No, we're okay with that.
And we do cover nail salons, correct?
Correct.
Yep. And that was a question bonanza. That was awesome.
This was a great engagement. Thank you everyone for joining. I think we did on the money for the time of the webinar.
Yeah.
We really appreciate the engagement. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us afterwards as well.
Yep. And like I said, I'll be sharing the recording, the deck, and Sean and Shane's emails for you. And then we have 3 lucky gift card winners who stuck it out through the end. We've got Cheryl Lucas, Tim Newell, and Masako Holcomb. So thank you guys so much. I'll be following up with that as well.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming. This was awesome. Thanks for listening. You'll have our emails now if you have any questions. So we'll see you next time. Thanks again.
Happy quoting.
That's right.